welcome back to part 3 of the history of the First Crusade. When last we were with our noble crusaders, they had just won in the city of Antioch, yet another unlikely victory. Our crusading army, after a few other battles of varying levels of significance, I encourage you to research this on your own. Our crusaders get to the city of Jerusalem. Jerusalem's a big deal. I'm about to talk about the history of all the major religions on earth right now. And I just want you to know I'm a historian and a nice person. I love Willie Nelson. So just know, I mean no offense. I have no religious skin in this game. I mean no disrespect. So, for ancient worlds, any sort of religious conflict, the first ones came about from the pagans versus monotheists, right? Generally just the idea that we have all of these gods, and they're all really important to being like, no, you should really worship fill in the blank. Sometimes it was like, you must worship me, the emperor. I'm actually God. So you gotta get rid of all these other gods, and you gotta bring all your sacrifices to me and all your things for me, and you gotta worship me, and I'm the God. And then we get our 3 monotheistic religions. First is Judaism. Christians who came around at year 0-ish, right? At least for our dating system. Of course, everything dates to the birth of Christ. So we get Christians in about nothing / year 35. Then in about mid 600s, you have the Prophet Muhammad comes onto the scene and ascends to heaven and is another third monotheistic deity. Ultimately, these 3 monotheistic religions, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, all kind of believe in the same big guy. The Jews are waiting for the Messiah. It's kind of their deal. Jews are like, no, the Messiah's coming. The Messiah's coming, and when he does, it's us, and that's because we're the chosen people. So the Messiah's coming. And the Christians are like, totally. And he came. It was Jesus. So Jews are waiting for the Messiah. Christians are like, we saw him, we're waiting for him to come back, his second coming. And Islam is like, no, that was Muhammad. He was the guy. Anyway, Jerusalem is to see all 3 of those monotheistic religions. Jerusalem's the place. It's where Christ was crucified. It's where Muhammad ascended. It has all the holy sites, and everybody wants it, and who can get access to what, and it had already been very complicated. Had been Christian, had been all 3 happily, peacefully, every once in a while, and then somebody gets mine, and it goes south. Be nice to me. I just love history. So when the Crusaders get to the city of Jerusalem, it was incredible. I mean, they were incredible. And they, similar, just like we had in Nicaea, just like we had in Antioch, now we're in a siege and we're outside. There had been sort of a civil war among divergent Islamic forces had fought for the power of the city of Jerusalem, from the Fatimids to the Seljuks. Anyway, it was a city divided, so it was a good time militarily. It was a good time to strike. The Genoese ships arrive, and they have not only supplies and food and water and people, but they have wood to build the firing wartime mechanisms that are going to get over the walls and into the city. And pretty much everyone agreed, if even one of these things can get over the walls and into the city, we're toast. But one got in. And the slaughter in the city of Jerusalem was extreme, even to medieval nights. I can't really overemphasize how bad an act of violence has to be for a medieval knight to go, oh, that was brutal. If Lindsay Lohan is like, you're kind of a drunk, you're like, oof. It's like if Kevin Spacey is like, you're kind of a pervert. What? I've already talked about all of the major world religions and the apocalypse and the Middle East. Do you think I'm afraid of upsetting Kevin Spacey? Anyway, that's not a very Nice way to talk about the violence perpetrated in the city of Jerusalem at the end of the First Crusade. It was awful. There's several historical accounts, Christian and Muslim, of there being blood up to their ankles in the Temple of Solomon, wading through blood. The most conservative accounts are 10,000 people. No one was spared. And the Christians held the city of Jerusalem for a minute. But that was essentially the end of the First Crusade. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. So, it's the end of the First Crusade. Christians have control of the city of Jerusalem. Not the end of the world. Crusaders go on home. Some of them stop and occupy cities along the way. What about the other 8 crusades? What's that? What's that? What about the next 8 crusades? I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but I will do this. Islam and the Muslims regain control of the city of Jerusalem, of course. Constantinople is now Istanbul because of the Ottoman Empire and the Muslims won. So, boy, fireball. At the end of the First Crusade, it is not the end of the world. Even though they did it. They did the thing, and they won, and they killed all the guys. So they go on home, and things unfold. Crusades unfold as they will, and I am going to continue to talk about the Crusades. Don't worry about it. We'll go through the rest. But, as terms of our access, Christian domination, or some vague resemblance of peace in the Middle East being the end of the world, at the end of World War I, the British Christians occupied again the city of Jerusalem, and it wasn't the end of the world. And we really made World War I, boy, chemical warfare and gas, and you want to think about like the signs of the end. The rivers did run with blood, trench warfare, airplane, chemical. No, it was awful. World War I was awful. You've seen Wonder Woman. It was awful. So at the end of World War I, this terrible, awful thing that sounds like Dante's hell incarnate, all of a sudden now Christians have control of Jerusalem. People were like, with their little apocalyptic bags packed then. Like, and it wasn't the end of the world then. I'm not saying that everything is Peter Bartholomew's lance. I'm just saying, be skeptical. Don't panic. Have some fireball. And continue to be good to each other. Because it might be the end of the world. In which case you're going to need friends. Or it might not be the end of the world, in which case, why be a cunt for nothing? This has been Historical Perspectives with Dawn Brodey. I'm Dawn Brodey.